Hi and welcome, Corrie Thorne, the spiritual emotional consultant, psychic medium, and everything in between. So tonight I am channeling through the message for the week of September the 23rd, 24th. I don't know what day it is, 23rd. 23rd, well, the night. It is a crazy storm here all day. Tonight has been crazy, windy, stormy, rainy. And I actually feel like it was something kind of washing away from us. Feels like something is leaving, an energy is shifting. There's a change. I didn't even get dressed till later today. So I hope this message resonates with you. I hope it connects to you somehow and that it helps guide you today. So these messages are not done specifically as a personal reading. This is channeling through the energy that exists within the world, like what is out there and what is coming in, and how the planets are aligning. And I'm not an astrologer. I am a channel. I'm a mystic. So I can tap through the history of you and through the history of your body and all of those things. And so I'm doing the same thing with the universe. Is I am tapping into the history, into all that is on repeat, the cycles, what comes around goes around. And if you go back through some of my channel messages up to a year ago, 2 years ago, and I said I don't know exactly when this will happen, but we'll see it. Well, I channeled through the assassination of a president and all of those things. And that's all the stuff that had happened in Haiti. And then the earthquake, and now, of course, what's happening in Afghanistan. And so it doesn't matter who channels it and what we channel. It's that when we get the messages that we send love, and that we start to send love towards the time, so that we know what may unfold to some degree, but that we know that we can, we try to send love to it so that something changes, so that we don't see the repeat. But what's on repeat the most right now are people, is our human existence. So tonight I am incorporating a little bit of a healing energy, a little bit of a healing message to go out to this. And my heart, my condolences, my love, my prayers, my everything. And because I can feel the world and I can feel everything, is that I am sending out healing love and just holding the light, holding the line, just holding that line for people, and just pulling love and pulling people out of harm's way and out of damage and out of suffering, and just hoping that we can do that as a people. And so this message, it's coming through from a place that I wish sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just be quiet, but once it starts, it just starts. Um, of just of just sending love. And so this is a message of love, and love does heal. We may not be able to, love may not be able to do all of the action, but the love that you're seeing is in the people who have the ability, the money, the ways, the communication, the massive amounts of followers that are able to bring in the money, to bring in the change, to be a part of the change, to get planes in, to do the big things that need to be done to get people out, because we have been failed by the systems. And I've been saying this for years, especially the past 2 years. I'm like, it is the little people that matter. It is your neighbors, it's your friends. We are not cared about by the big corporations, by the big people. That's not by the government. They're in it for mostly for their own good. And one feeds on the other. And we're seeing it everywhere. And so for us everyday people, is for us to be able to look into the light, to not to think we're better than, more than, to not to think that we're more powerful than, but to know that together we have a light that is so powerful that it can move mountains. And that's the truth. It's the everyday people that are stepping up to be the change that needs to happen right now. And it's not the people that are running around chasing their tails, or still trying to cover up, or they're trying to keep the secrets hidden, or trying to hide the things that should have been done correctly. And we are seeing a prime example of what immaturity does, what that anger and fear and making choices to just conquer and not think about the effects of what we are getting and what we're doing, we're seeing it everywhere. And so the first card that comes out for us is the wisdom of the elders, which is Nugimi. And Nugimi is, and I'm not really saying it totally correctly to my culture, but to the Mi'kmaq First Nations, that's the grandmother. That's what one of the ways of saying grandmother. And so I'm just not getting it totally right, but it is the wisdom of the elder. And so this card comes up, and my cards are broken down into maiden, mother, and crone. And this is in the maiden cards, and she's a 12. She's not mother, she's not crone, because she's this. And the moment you look at this card and think, yeah, I got this card, so I'm this big energy, I'm this. And no, you're not. And so, no, we're not, we're this. And I've been around this world many times and many lifetimes, and to be able to tap in into the wise wisdom and the wise soul and the all-knowing, I'm still this. And the knowing all doesn't knowing all doesn't mean know it all. And so there's this sense there's always something to learn. And when you try to master the master, when you try to be greater than the creator, when you try to be more and more powerful than what you are, what your potential and what your wisdom and what your knowledge actually has, when you try to be that, the foundation is so weak that you are seeing the crumble and the fall. And we're seeing it in our political parties. We're seeing it in our departments. We have seen it in the healing industry. We have seen it in the motivators and the empowerment. We have seen the crumbling and the fall when fear and anger and almost like that pie in the face moment happened, of what can never happen. That will never happen. And when it all did, all the behaviors and all the actions and all the worst of us, all the worst of people came crawling out. And then there was those that had the level of calmness and maturity to know that this too shall pass. We have to be prepared within us, and we have to think logically, and we have to think rationally, and we have to do the things for the right reason and do things correctly and properly. My dog's trying to get down. And so in that was being able to walk what we call stay in the middle road, stay at the crossroads, and to gain perspective, to gain views, to gain the wisdom and knowledge that we would need for when those broken foundations that had empires being built would crumble and fall. And sadly, most of the world and a lot of people did not stay true to that. And they became a spreader of the fear and the master manipulator of our minds, and started to create narratives and stories that really wasn't true at the time, but became more of a self-prophecy. And so we've seen some crumbling, and we're seeing the effects of it now, and we're seeing the crumbling of it. And not saying that it's at fault, it's just saying that we are way more human than we'd like to be. We're way more human than we are God creator. And that we have to put our faith back into something that is so deep within us, the innate of us, to know that we have the strength and the courage inside, but we have to play small. And we have to remember we're small, but we have to do big things. And we have to take the high road, and we have to go to the higher self. And we have to spiritually and emotionally mature beyond. We have to spiritually and emotionally beyond our own fears and insecurities and our wants of a world that we think we want. And by trying to get that narrative pushed into the world to get that so-called world you thought were going to get, look where we are. And we have to be very, very aware of what we are contributing to now, and how we are to be the light, and to be embodiment of that light, to be able to spread the messages of love, and that we all have to work together from where we were, from if we fell from grace, and then we have to come back. If we were in the mid crossroads and we stayed there, we have to bring that together, and we have to work together. And some of those who may have the biggest followings should probably start coming to us that are little followers, because it doesn't mean that we're any less or that we have any less. Is that we are trying to make our way in a world where we are being stomped on constantly. And it doesn't mean that we are any less of a reader, a channel, a sense of empowerment, that we haven't done our work, or we haven't got that we haven't got the backing behind us. It's just that we are trying to compete in a world full of ego, and a world that says you're only enough based on the number of people that find you, based on that whole system that is created so that you don't get found. And so, we've had to kind of start to walk away from some of that and go back to our people and be what we can for the people who have made a choice to follow us and to be there. And so for me, it is for you. It is for those who have found my work, that follow, and that I keep saying, I'm this light. Sid, don't you go anywhere, stay there. And so I'm this light, I'm small, and I don't try to play big. I don't try to be bigger than I am. I take these opportunities, and this, I'm telling you this so that you can start to find that in you, that you don't let the fear be the big story, and you don't let the fear overpower and override you, and you don't let your sense of ego or self in any way of thinking that you may know more or be more than anyone else, that we can all start to be that come together. And it's the wisdom of the elder, and I am officially an elder. It's the wisdom of the elder that is needed right now. And that discounting us that are aging and saying, oh, we know better. No, there's a lot that is to be learned. And there's a lot to be learned from the elders that walked before us, from those that walked the earth before we ever existed, and to those that are still here, those that have fought wars, those who know what it's like to be on all sides and all ends. And we need to listen. And we need to listen very carefully, which means we need to stop talking, and we need to be quiet, and we need to gain wisdom. We need to calm down and breathe through and know that, yes, we may have fallen from grace. Yes, you may have existed in the fear stories. Yes, you may have been there, but we're here now. What do we do from right here? So we got imperfectly perfect. And that light that is flowing, that has been flowing into us, that has been keeping us as safe as it can, trying to provide, that sense of peaceful perspective for us, and asking us to find a more peaceful perspective and to be more peaceful in our words and our language to each other, is now our opportunity to let that, to open ourselves up to accept it first, and then to start letting it out, start sending that back out into the world, that we may be imperfect, but we have a lot of capability, a lot of light, a lot of power of love within us, that we can start pushing that out. And this little gem represents this. And this is my Herkimer diamond. And I keep this as a reminder to me that this is my talisman. This is the imperfection, and how humans have such a desire to to discount the imperfect, discount the so-called less than, and to try to find that perfect diamond, to never care where it comes from, to never ask where it came from, that it came from a blood diamond, that a child's life was given for it, that people's lives, that people suffered, that people are not getting paid for it. Then for man to create it into the most perfect diamond, and then place value upon something that is no different than this, that it was still a rock, a gem, a piece of Mother Earth. And we've ripping out those pieces of Mother Earth. So if you're hugging a tree and you're walking around with a diamond that you don't know where it came from, you need to question your own self sometimes. If you're judging and criticizing someone else, you need to stop and look. If you're walking around with one of those big diamonds on your, I don't know, if you're walking around with one of those big diamonds on your finger that you have no idea where it came from, if it was ethically taken, and who placed that value, because ultimately you're still just wearing a rock. You can tell yourself any story that you want to tell on what you think it is and how precious of a gem and how valuable it is because of the price tag that was placed on it, but it all came from the same place. And that's us. We all are from the same place, of the same light. And there's not one that is any more valuable, any more worthy than the other than the stories that we tell ourselves. And we are all imperfectly perfect. No matter how much you try to pretty it up, no matter how many dollars you have, no matter how much you have, and you can flaunt it, you can promote it, you can push it, you can do whatever you want, but we are all the same. So it's us little people. It is the everyday people that I choose to get my wisdom from, to spend my time with, to be empowered and inspired by those that do the right thing for the right reasons, those that do the hard stuff, those that take their last dollar and give to places where millionaires are asking for us to donate, and we don't have a dollar left to donate, but we find pennies in a penny bank and we give it out, and we give it out with an open heart, and we become the anonymous donors, the ones that no one ever knows. And how many spots and how many places does that happen? And how many times in our own communities do we step up and do the right thing for our people, for our communities? That's the people that inspire me. That's the people that should inspire you. And that's the person inside of you that should be inspiring you today and should be empowering you. And that is the mess. That is how we start to build that love, is through the eyes of our friends, our families, those that you've made enemies with, that you should never have made enemies with, that you come back together and that you can tell each other and you can see into each other, we're all just human. And that we have an opportunity, and this is my deck of oracle cards, the Everyday Goddess oracle cards, created from this, of inspiration and attitude. And this is purity, and this is rebirth, and this is wholeness. And this is her holding her newborn little child. It's not in the pain of giving the birth. It is what we hold after. It is what we become after. And we have to hold the line, hold the faith, and hold the hope for the world that is to be created from us making the right choices, doing the right thing now and in the future, so that we can hold on to this newborn world, this newborn us, and to be able to come from pure thoughts, pure mind, and pure intention, and that we will do the right things for the right reasons. And I hope today somehow that this message may reach you, it resonates with you, and if it's triggering you, then maybe there's something that you need to question. If it's inspiring, empowering you, then it's totally the time to start to question everything and to look at the areas, where can I be the change and where can I make the change within me? How can I start stepping up to be the change that the world needs to see? And that's how we start to empower the love, and then illuminate, like Care Bears, illuminate the love and the light out into the world. Compassion and kindness starts action, and it's chaos that has put us where we are. It is the motive to divide us, to separate us, that has made us turn the blind eye to the places that we needed to look deeper. And tonight, and to the next day, tonight, tomorrow, the day after, we need to start sending that feeling forward and start seeking and searching that on a higher level. And I hope this inspires you tonight. Much, much love. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. And that means within you. It may not be beautiful out there, but the world still has beauty. You're going to have to start seeking it deeper and just look at the flowers, look at nature, look at those things that work effortlessly to create that imperfectly perfect world. And it still exists there for us. Much love. Bye-bye.